I have already discussed in my previous videos for classes 8 and 9 explaining the rules of changing active voice into passive voice and vice versa. Now, let me first explain how I can find the subject or the object in a sentence. If I am going to ask the verb question with what or who and the answer is placed in front of the verb, then that word is the subject. And if I ask the verb any question with what or whom and the word is placed after the verb, then that is the object. I have to change the object into the subject and the subject into the agent in the passive voice. The woman gave the girl detailed instructions. This is active voice. The girl was given detailed instructions by the woman. This is the agent. The woman is the subject, gave is the verb, the girl is the object, detailed instructions are extra words. I am changing the object, the girl, into the subject in the passive voice. The girl was given, gave becomes was given, detailed instructions. Detailed instructions are extra word. It can be placed in the front or at the back of the sentence, at the end of the sentence. The girl was given detailed instructions by the woman. The woman, the subject in the active voice, becomes the agent in the passive voice. The girl was given detailed instructions by the woman. They called their goodbyes. Their goodbyes were called by them. They called their goodbyes. They is the subject, called verb, their goodbyes, object. Their goodbyes becomes the subject, their goodbyes were called by them. They becomes them. I knew she wore slippers. It was known to me she wore slippers. There is two clauses over here. I knew is one clause, she wore slippers is another clause. I knew, it was known to me, and she wore slippers remains the same. It does not change. I knew becomes it was known to me. It was known to me she wore slippers. One clause is changed, another clause remain as it is. They slapped against her heels. Her heels were slapped against by them. I liked the sound of her voice. I is the subject, liked is the verb, the sound of her voice is the object. The sound of her voice was liked by me. The sound of her voice, the object becomes the subject in the passive voice. The sound of her voice was liked. Liked becomes was liked. Liked is past tense, is becomes past participle, liked, and it takes the be verb. Liked, the sound of her voice was liked. I becomes by me. My voice startled her. My voice, subject, startled, verb, her, object. Her becomes she in the passive voice. She was startled by my voice. By my voice, the subject becomes the agent in the passive voice. She gave a little exclamation. She, subject, gave verb, a little exclamation, object. A little exclamation becomes the subject in the passive voice. A little exclamation was given by her. A little exclamation was given by her. I did not know anyone else was here. It was not known to me. I did not know. It was not known to me. This I did not know, this is one clause. Not anyone else was here, another clause. It was not known to me. Anyone else was here. It was not known to me. Anyone else was here. I didn't see you either. I didn't see you either. You were not seen by me either. You were not seen by me either. My aunt is meeting me there. My aunt is meeting me there. My aunt is the subject, is meeting is the verb, me is the object, there is the extra word. There can be used anywhere. In the beginning of the sentence, at the end of the sentence, or in the middle of the sentence. Me becomes I. My aunt becomes the agent. I was being met. This is present continuous tense, so it changes into I was being met by my aunt there. I love the hills. I love the hills. Simple present tense. I, subject, love, verb, the hills, object. The hills were loved by me. I becomes me. The hills becomes the subject in the passive voice. The hills are covered with wild dahlias. The hills are covered with wild dahlias. This sentence is in the passive voice. To make it active voice, wild dahlias cover the hills. This is simple present tense. You can drink a little brandy. Can, modal verb. You can drink, main verb, drink. You, subject, can drink, verb. A little brandy, object. A little brandy can be drunk. Drink becomes past participle, drunk. A little brandy can be drunk by you. She thought me a romantic fool. She, subject, thought, verb, me, object, a romantic fool, object. There are two objects over here. A romantic fool is direct object, me is indirect object. I was thought a romantic fool by her. I was thought a romantic fool by her. Then I made a mistake. Then I made a mistake. Then, adverb, I, subject, made, verb, a mistake, object. Then remains as it is. Then I can place then in the front or at the back. Then a mistake was made by me. A mistake, the object becomes the subject. Then a mistake was made. Made becomes was made. I becomes by me. Then a mistake was made by me. Her next question removed my doubts. Her next question, subject, removed, verb, my doubts, object. My doubts becomes subject in the passive voice. My doubts were removed. Removed takes the be verb and the past participle. My doubts were removed by her next question. I faced it. I, subject, faced, verb, it, object. It was faced by me. It was faced by me. I heard the panting of the engine. The panting of the engine. I, subject, heard, verb, the panting of the engine, object. The panting of the engine was heard by me. The panting of the engine was heard by me. I could see telegraph posts flashing by. Telegraph posts could be seen flashing by. By me or by me can be removed. Telegraph post could be seen flashing by. Could becomes could be seen. Could see becomes could be seen. I, subject, could see, verb, telegraph posts, object, flashing by, extra. Telegraph post could be seen flashing by. Posts, telegraph posts, the object is changed into the subject in the passive voice. Do you see any animals? Do you see any animals? Are any animals seen by you? Are any animals seen by you? I faced the girl. I, subject, faced, verb, the girl, object. The girl was faced by me. Few girls can resist flattery. Few girls, subject, can, modal, resist, main verb, flattery, object. Flattery can be resisted by few girls. Flattery can be resisted by few girls. She would forget our brief encounter. She would forget. She, subject, would, modal, verb, forget, main verb, our brief encounter, object. Our brief encounter would be forgotten. Would be forgotten. Forgotten is past participle. Always we use the past participle form or the third form while changing into the passive voice from the active voice. Our brief encounter would be forgotten by her. She becomes by her. A man getting into the compartment stammered an apology. An apology was stammered by a man getting into the compartment. A man getting into the compartment, subject, stammered, verb, an apology, object. An apology was stammered by a man getting into the compartment. The guard blew the whistle. The guard blew the whistle. The guard, subject, blew, verb, the whistle, object. The whistle was blown by the guard. The whistle was blown by the guard. The train gathered speed. Speed was gathered by the train. Speed was gathered by the train. I found the window. The window was found by me. The window was found by me. The window was found by me. The man who entered the compartment broke into my reverie. The man broke into my reverie is one clause. Who entered, main clause. Who entered the compartment, subordinate clause. The man broke into my reverie, main clause. Who entered the compartment, subordinate clause. I have to change one clause into passive voice and another clause remains the same. My reverie was broken by the man. My reverie was broken by the man who entered the compartment. The subordinate clause remains the same. Who entered the compartment. My reverie was broken by the man who entered the compartment. I will discuss on other topics in my next videos.